For those of you who've been following my work, you will have seen most of my paintings are done with acrylic, especially in the last 20, sort of 25 years. One I'm going to be showing you now is actually a watercolour, but it is a watercolour with a difference. And I'll give you the backstory now. Some years ago, I used to go around a lot of, in the UK we say car boots, I'm not too sure what you call them in America, not yard sale. Yard sales is kind of individual houses, isn't it? Flea markets, I guess perhaps you would say, but in the UK we call them outdoor car boots basically. So people selling bric-a-brac and whatever out of the back of their car, or, well, not literally, but on a table. So I used to go to quite a large one just up the road actually in Cheltenham, which used to be held at the racecourse there. And I used to go there. I used to get a lot of my paintbrushes from there actually, because they were a very good price and they were very nice brushes as well. And so I used to buy some materials there. If you do know me, you'll know I don't have a problem with second-hand things or old things, jewellery, clothes and things like that. I'll be quite happy to wear something or buy something that's been used. I don't have a problem with that at all. So the same applies to paint actually. So this particular day, I was buying some brushes and this man come up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, saw me I was buying some brushes, completely out of the blue, and he said to me, do you want a box of paints? And I said, well, what kind of paints are they? Well, he said, I've got a load of paints that I've got for like a job lot of paints from, he didn't actually tell me, but in hindsight, I'm assuming they were from a shop, an old art shop. And he said, if you want to have a look, come back to the car. So I went back to the car. He showed me this box, and I could see it had paints in it. I didn't actually see what kind of paints there were, to be honest. I just looked at a couple. There was a lot of them. So we struck a deal, and I bought this box of paints and all sorts of things. But the paints was what I was interested in. So the paints in question, as I later found out, and I have a bit of research, were Winsor Newton, and they were like, I think you would call them cakes, or they were sticks basically. So they were like a coloured stick, and I'll try to insert a picture here if I can find one, because I haven't actually got any left now. But they were like a cake stick, and they were probably about that long, hexagonal in shape, kind of thing, like a pencil, but like sort of 5 times thicker than that, and wrapped in foil. And they come to all different colours. Mainly, I think they were used by draftsmen, to be honest, years ago when they were doing designs and things like perhaps for furniture or, I don't know, drawings or something. But they would have been used by a draftsman. I know that kind of much, although, you could use them for art, but I don't think they're actually used in that way, to be honest. And I had quite a few boxes of these, actually, different colours. I think there was probably about 20 colours, something like that. Much bigger range than you get in the Winsor Newton selection these days. So this was the painting that I actually did. So these paints were going back to 1956, I believe. And so I cracked one open and had a go, and then decided to use the rest of the paints to create a painting. So this was the painting I created using my 1956 Winsor and Newton cake sticks, or cake paintings, or whatever you call them. And this was it. So they're watercolour. So these colours were actually the colours that they had. I probably used about 10 different colours on this, but they're absolutely gorgeous to use. I've used them on paper, so it's quite thick watercolour paper. But the actual paint, oh my goodness, it was so lovely to use. The kind of pigment was so clear in kind of consistency, so smooth, really, and not like the paint. I use quite a good paint anyway, but the paint you generally buy in shops is, I'm not saying coarse, but it can be a bit kind of grainy sometimes. But obviously this paint was silky smooth, absolutely gorgeous. It was like the difference between like a Ford Fiesta in the UK and a kind of a Rolls Royce. You just feel it when you were mixing it, and it just kind of melted away like butter. It was so smooth. And so that's one of the reasons it allowed me to create this kind of this painting here. And you can see that it is very, very delicate. I used quite a small brush, but it allowed me to do so much with this painting. And I just wanted to explore the different colours to see what I could actually achieve with it. I wanted to do something quite delicate as well, and kind of highlight certain bits of the painting. And it was just amazing to use, thinking somebody had used those back in 1956. Some of them are new, some of them had been opened and then just kind of resealed. But I really loved using them. I did a bit of research and I did find a bit out about them. Obviously, they don't exist anymore doing those kind of paint sticks. But they were just like in a totally different league. They were fantastic. So there we go. So that's what I did with it. I mean, typical of my kind of style, but it just allowed me to do something quite delicate. And also, it goes to prove actually, if it's a good paint brand. I mean, back in the day, Winsor Newton were pretty good. You know, they did last the test of time, and they were absolutely usable without any problem whatsoever. So I did this in 2010. So the paints would have been 60 odd years old then, and they were still as good as the day they were produced, I reckon. Absolutely no issues with that. And even then, I mean, so we're talking, this is what, we're talking 14 years ago now. And I mean, the actual clarity of the paint has still stayed exactly as it was when it went on. So, yeah, so, and if you are an artist, I would say always use the best paint you can afford for the job. If you do use cheap paint, you're not going to get the great result, to be honest. It can be very disappointing for you. So always buy the best quality you can with paints. I say brushes. I don't actually think it does apply to brushes unless you're doing actually something in particular, like some fine detail or something. I've got brushes that are not very expensive, and I've been using some of my brushes 20 odd years. So they're kind of all wrapped up with like mummified kind of things, where all the varnish and the kind of coating has come off around the handle. I put masking tape around them to hold them all together, but it's what you get used to. So there we go. So that is Winsor Newton cake sticks from 1956. So that's what I had to go with doing. So there we go. So I hope you enjoyed having a little look at that, and we'll talk about paints as well, which is quite interesting, and all knowledge is good. So thanks for your time today. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be most grateful for that. Please feel free to share the video if you know somebody's interested and want to recommend it to somebody. That's all to the good as well. So no problem with that whatsoever. So thanks a lot for your time. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care till then. Bye-bye.